Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kwasinda Larice, your spirit-led transformation coach. Today I want to share a dream. I want to share a dream with you that felt deeply comforting to me, and honestly, I think it carries a message many people might need right now. It was a simple dream, but I think it was powerful. So in the dream, I saw Jesus from behind, walking out into the ocean, walking on the water. And by the time I noticed him, he had already gone a good distance out. And my first thought was something like, oh, there's Jesus. He's leaving. But then it suddenly hit me. He was walking on the water. And there was something about that dream that felt full of comfort, trust, steadiness, and even invitation. So today, I want to share the dream. What stood out to me symbolically, what I believe it meant, the deeper message I believe God was communicating through it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts at the end too. So, again, the dream was very simple. I saw Jesus from behind, walking out into the ocean, and he was walking on the water. He had already gone a good distance by the time that I noticed him. I was standing on the beach, on the sandy part of the beach, and just watching. And my first reaction was almost casual, like, oh, there's Jesus. He's leaving. But then it hit me in a deeper way that he was not just walking away, he was walking on the water. And I was standing there on the shore, just watching him. And that was the dream. It was just that short. So a few things stood out very strongly to me in this dream, though. The first is, I saw Jesus from behind, and this felt important. I did not see him facing me. I did not see him standing still. I saw him from behind, but moving ahead. And to me, that carries a strong sense of follow me, or I'm going before you, or keep your eyes on me and trust where I am leading. And there's something very different about seeing someone from behind. It doesn't only say, look at me, it also says, come after me. So right away, this dream didn't only feel comforting, it also felt invitational. Number two, he was walking on the water, which is obviously a very strong biblical image. And water often represents uncertainty or emotion or some type of unrest or the unknown or even unstable conditions. So for Jesus to be calmly walking on the water, it symbolizes authority over instability or peace over chaos, sovereignty over what would swallow up others, and steadiness in the place that would normally create fear. That feels especially meaningful in times like these when there's so much panic, so much monitoring of the conditions of the day, and so much fear that's in the air. Number three, he had already gone a good distance. This part really stood out for me because by the time I noticed him, he was already far out. And that feels symbolic too. To me, it suggests that he's already ahead, he's already present in the deep, he is already where I have not yet gone, and he is already standing in the place that would feel unstable to me. And that can be really comforting. It says to me that Jesus is not reacting late to what is happening in the world or in my life or in the deeper waters. He is already there. Number four, I was on the shore. So I was on the beach and I was not in the water with him. I was just standing there on the sandy part and watching, observing. And that feels like a threshold place. The beach is where land meets water. It's the edge between what feels more stable and what feels less certain. So the dream feels like it happened in a place of watching, recognizing, even learning, and perhaps being invited into a deeper trust with him. It felt like I was being shown something before being asked to really understand it fully. And then five. So my first thought was he was leaving. This is one of the most tender parts to me At first, it was almost like, okay, there's Jesus, he's leaving. And then me noticing that he was walking on the water, and that shift feels meaningful because sometimes in life, especially when the world feels heavy or uncertain, it can feel like, where is God in all of this? Is he far away? Or how close is he? Is he distant from the conditions of what's going on? Is he leaving us to figure this all out? But the dream corrects that perception. Like, no, he is not absent. He is not retreating. He is not overtaken. He is already out there walking in authority over what would create fear in everyone else. And that is powerful. To me, this dream naturally brought me to the gospel story where Jesus walked on water. And in that story, the disciples were in rough conditions, and the sea was unsettled, and the disciples were in fear. And then Jesus come to them walking on water. And his message is essentially, it is I, do not be afraid. And that makes such a beautiful connection because that's exactly the feeling this dream carries for me. Not only look at Jesus, but do not panic. He is steady over the instability. He is not threatened by what feels overwhelming, and his presence in the deep changes everything. And I also think about Peter in that story. Peter himself is able to walk while his focus remains fixed. But when fear takes over him, he begins to sink in the water. And that matters too, because I think this dream is not only about Jesus' authority, it is also about where our attention belongs. Not on the fear, not on the constant monitoring of the conditions, but on him, on Christ. To me, this dream feels like a message about trust in unstable times. It feels like God was showing Jesus is already ahead in the deep. In the deep, the waters may be unstable, but he is not. What creates fear in others is still under his feet. And I do not need to panic when he is already sovereign there. And that means a lot to me. It should mean a lot to you, especially because this isn't the first time I felt God strongly say something like this. Years ago, I had this vision where I wanted to run, and God paused me to stand still. And that message has stayed with me. Don't panic, stand still, trust in him. And then this dream feels like another expression of that same message. Not in the exact form, but in the same spirit. Because the world can feel so heavy. There is so much noise. There is so much fear and so much urgency. There is so much pressure to keep scanning the conditions of the day. And I think God is very strong with me about not living in panic. So this dream feels like part of that. It says the conditions may be rough, but Jesus is already in the waters. He is not alarmed. He is not sinking. He is not late. And he's already ahead of us. That is deeply comforting. I hope it is for you too. And something else that makes this dream feel especially meaningful to me is that many spiritual people have been sensing imagery like tidal waves and flooding or rising waters in the recent years. And I've had flooding imagery in dreams before too, including dreams about flooding in the U.S. So when I had this specific dream of Jesus walking calmly on the water, it felt even more significant because flooding imagery often carries the feeling of overwhelm or instability, collective upheaval, conditions rising beyond what people feel prepared for, and things becoming bigger than human control. So this dream did not feel like it was denying the seriousness of the waters. It felt like it was showing me something deeper. Jesus is still over the waters. Because if many people are sensing flood-like conditions, whether literally, spiritually, emotionally, or collectively, then this dream becomes more than a beautiful image. It becomes a message. It becomes a reminder that the waters may be real, the rising of the waters may be real, the instability may be real, but none of it is above him. And I think that is part of why this dream has stayed with me in such a comforting way. It doesn't tell me to pretend the waters are not there. It reminds me that Jesus is already there too, and not struggling in them, not sinking in them, not panicking in them, but walking calmly over them. That changes the whole atmosphere of the message for me. This is the part I most want to leave with. Beyond the imagery itself, the deeper message I believe God was communicating through this dream was this: do not panic. Jesus is already ahead in the unstable place. And not only that, follow him there and trust. That's why seeing him from behind matters so much to me, because the dream did not only show me his authority over the waters, it also showed me that he was leading the way. He was saying, I'm already ahead. I'm already over what looks unstable. Do not let the conditions rule over your heart. Keep your eyes on me and follow me into trust. And that is the beautiful message. And I think it's especially needed right now because so many people are anxious, monitoring everything constantly, feeling overwhelmed by about what is happening in the U.S. and in the world. But this dream reminds me, and should remind you, Jesus isn't panicking. He is still sovereign over what looks impossible. He is still calm where others feel unstable. And to me, the overall message from God was not only, I am over the waters, but it's also, keep following me. Your peace is not in watching the conditions. Your peace is in staying oriented toward me. I think one reason I wanted to share this dream is because many people are carrying a lot of fear right now. And I understand that. There is so much happening. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's so much collective anxiety, so much emotional and spiritual noise. But I think dreams like this remind us that God can speak peace in ways that go deeper than information. This dream didn't give me a forecast. It gave me a posture of trust and stillness and watching Jesus, remembering his authority and refusing to let panic become my guide. And that's a gift. It also reminds me that dreams are not always about decoding hidden events. Sometimes they are about seeing God more clearly. Sometimes they are about being comforted. Sometimes they are about being reoriented in the middle of noisy times. And this dream feels like that to me. It feels like a dream of reorientation. So if I were to say the heart of this dream in one sentence, I'd say, Jesus is already ahead in the deep, and what feels unstable to us is still under his feet. And if I were to say the deeper message from God inside it, I'd say, do not panic, keep following me, especially in a world where so much is trying to pull our eyes toward fear. This dream reminds me that peace is not found in constant monitoring. Peace is found in Jesus. And not just in knowing that he is powerful, but in recognizing that he is already where we are afraid to go, already steady in a place that looks impossible, and already leading. I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts about this dream? Have you ever had a dream of Jesus that stayed with you? What part of this dream stands out most to you? And does the image of Jesus walking on the water speak to anything particular in your life right now? And also, what do you think the deeper message from God in this dream might be? If this kind of video resonates with you, let me know in the comments, because I may share more dreams and more visions as we go. Thank you for being here with me today, and maybe carry this with you. The waters may be unstable, but Jesus is not. The waters may be rising, but they are not rising above him. And sometimes his message is simply, do not panic, follow me. So thanks for hanging out with me today. In my next video, I will talk about what if something wonderful happens and how fear trains us to expect the worst. Thanks so much for being here, for watching, subscribing, sharing, and supporting this space. If you'd like to go deeper, you can explore the links in my channel's description, including my website, the podcast, blog, gift shop, sacred digital resources, and join my email newsletter list to stay connected with what we're creating and sharing. And if you're interested in working with me more personally, you can also visit the Work With Me link. These videos are shared for spiritual reflection, encouragement, and entertainment purposes only. And if this video spoke to you, I truly appreciate you liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps support the channel and allows for this message to reach more people. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Until then, take care of your heart, take care of your spirit, and take care of you.